All right, so this is something I've been wanting to do for a while now. For a lot of you listening, you probably don't know me. I'm Max Steed. I'm just a 19-year-old living in Ohio. I've lived in the same town my whole life. It's near Cincinnati. It's about an hour away from Cincinnati, and this is just something I've wanted to do for a while now, for about probably a year and a half. Just something to get my thoughts out into the world, and sometimes you can't plan out everything in life. Sometimes you just gotta throw something out there, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's just kind of the energy I've had like my entire life. Like even when I was a kid, I was pretty easygoing. I didn't get in trouble a lot. Like as a kid, I just kind of said, all right, and that's just kind of the energy I've carried with me my whole life. And for some people, that's fucking great. But for others, they have to be like methodical. They got to plan stuff out, and that people like that are fantastic. But I'm not that way. So this is just me talking into a phone right now. It's humble beginnings, but I just want this to be whatever this turns into, whatever this doesn't turn into. I just want this to be a conversation to whoever whoever's listening right now, who's ever listening in the future, whenever, whatever. I just want this to be a conversation. I I'm just gonna talk about stuff that I find very interesting, or things that maybe don't interest me, but a certain aspect of it does. Uh, I love talking about sports. I will talk about sports forever. But you'll also catch me talking about fucking bears and how they eat their cubs. Just shit like that fascinates me. Like just the natural world itself, and like just everything that goes into it, and everything that we witness, everything that we contribute to it. It's just everything out there, no matter what it is, it's something special, even if it doesn't look like it. Like this morning, on what day is it? It is April 10th, 2019. This morning, when I got up at 8 a.m., I went on Twitter. The first thing I see, somebody has taken a picture of a black hole. That astounds me. Something that we have been theorizing since Einstein was alive. Back in like the 40s and 50s, something we've been theorizing about, something that we haven't really proven until like the 90s. It's it's finally in this it's finally in this state where everybody can view it. If you have a phone or a computer, that blows my fucking mind. That's crazy to me that something as nebulous as a black hole can be finally witnessed by people. That that's insane. And I love talking about shit like that. It's just I think I think you can be passionate about anything if you really want to. Like I'm a guy who can watch as long as it's Cincinnati, or I no, as long as it's Cincinnati based, I'll read an article. If it anything Cincinnati, I can watch any Cincinnati sport. I hate soccer, but I love watching FC Cincinnati. I don't really like hockey, but I'll go to a Cincinnati Cyclones game and get fucking lit. That's just who I am. But I can find something to get excited about in just about anything. It doesn't have to be tied to Cincinnati, even though I love my hometown with all my heart. It doesn't have to be tied to that. You don't have to You don't have to be this one track person that like a lot of people think you are. Like a lot of people will try to put you in that will put you in a group. They'll associate something with you. And just because you like that one thing, they'll always assume that you're a part of that one thing. You don't but that's usually not the case. Just because I like sports, it doesn't mean I dislike science or reading or anything else. I I can find excitement in anything because I kind of think everything has a purpose. And like once something has a purpose, that that it's just so awesome to me that anything in this world can inspire something. Like reading a book can change somebody's entire life. Like and if you write if you wrote a book and it changed somebody's life, you might that person might come up to you and say it changed their life, but how many other people's lives has it changed that you don't know about? That's incredible. And I just think the world we're living in today, we just need a lot more energy. And there's a there's definitely a lot of energy going around, but I don't think it's good energy, to be honest. I think there's a lot of hate. I think there's a lot of distrust. There's a lot of distrust. I'll definitely talk about that in a minute. There's just a lot of negative energy in this world right now, and I think there needs to be a lot more positive. And you do need negative energy because without negative energy, then everybody's just a yes man, and nobody likes a yes man. But nobody likes a no man. Just somebody who says no all the time. Who the fuck wants to hang out with somebody like that? You gotta have a mix of both. You can't just have one or the other. And I think there's just way too much negative energy right now. And I just wanna put some positive energy out into the world however I can. But just I think a lot of it comes from I think a lot of this energy comes from just disdain for what past generations have done. Like when I think about negative energy in the United States, just just the United States, there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, don't get me wrong. But when I think of negative energy, I mainly think of people who are fed up with the way things have been going for so long. And I think a lot of people want change, but they don't know how to change it. So, like, just there's just some things that you can't change, but there are a lot of things you can. And one thing you can change is the way you look at life. And I think a lot of people are looking at life right now with the opposite of rose tinted glasses. I think a lot of people are they have this they have this black and white filter over their eyes and they just think everything is dreary and everything is just awful and everything's out to get you, everyone's out to get you. I I'm the complete opposite. I don't think that at all. I think a lot of people just they were they were brought up to kind of not trust anybody unless they're like immediately close to you. So like, yeah, stranger danger is good advice, but if you just moved in somewhere and you like if you moved to like a new city in a house or apartment and you don't like converse with your neighbors at all, you don't talk with anybody, you know what that's going to end up being? That's going to be a pretty boring And B, you're going to turn into a cynical person because you're just going to be thinking about yourself all the time. And I think people need to start thinking about others. And a lot of people do think about others. But I think it needs to start at the individual level. People need to start understanding people more. And I'm not saying like take their feelings into consideration, which you should do to a certain extent. It shouldn't be somebody's main focus when you're talking to somebody or you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, because if you don't hurt their feelings, or if you don't hurt their feelings somewhat in a conversation, like an actual conversation, then what's the point of having that conversation? Because they're not really learning anything if their feelings, or whatever you want to call it, intellect is being challenged. And I think that's a main philosophy, or not philosophy, that's like a pillar of a conversation, is to learn new things. Because if you're just having a conversation with somebody and you're not getting new knowledge, what was the point? That's just how I think conversations. Just what was the point if nothing new was learned? And you can have conversations with people where nothing new was learned, but it was still a valuable conversation. But those are conversations talking like, well, what kind of person am I? What kind of person do I want to be? You're gaining knowledge about yourself, but you're not really gaining knowledge about the world. And those conversations are important too. Those are meaningful conversations, but I just think a conversation, there needs to be something driving it. It can't just be it can't just be about one thing. It can't just be about one person. It can't be about a group of people. I think everybody needs to start looking at the bigger picture.